All right, congratulations on being you today. So I want you to think about one thing from the start of this video. You have two systems of motivation, and the two systems are moving towards something and moving away from something. Those two systems can be used together as a way to produce the most amount of motivation that you've had in your lives, right? So an experiment can be done where essentially you can put a rat inside of a tube, and if you attach a coil, like the coils that you get inside your pens when you dismantle your pens or whatever, you get like a spring. You can attach a spring onto the rat's tail to measure its motivational progress, its motivational power. If you then put the smell of cheese at one end of the tube, the rat will start moving towards it. So that's one of your motivational nerves and systems. It's the one moving towards the goal. So the rat will start moving towards the smell of cheese. Now you can intrinsically improve that motivation by then adding the waft of a cat smell into the other side of the tube behind the mouse. And it's so interesting what happens. After you do that, the rat's motivation to move towards the cheese increases 3 times, 4 times, 5 times fold, because it has something to run away from. It has a hell to go away from, something to move away from and something to move towards. That's what's really important. You got to have two things. So an exercise for you to do is essentially write about where you want to be and where you don't want to be. So where would you be if you did everything right? All the habits, all the goals, all the things that you had set for you. Where would you want to be if you were that kind of person? And then the other thing is the thing that you want to run away from. The thing that you want to run away from if everything fell apart, if you fell into the chaos, if you fell into the darkness, the abyss, what would you want to run away from? What kind of person would you be if that happened? That's where you have to stay away from. And then that creates two motivational systems in your head where essentially you know that you want to get somewhere, and you know that if you don't get towards that thing and you start falling off, you're going to end up somewhere else. So that creates two motivational systems, which is a very easy way to start working towards your goals. It doesn't have to be anything massive as well. It just has to be something to get you moving. Now, to talk about how you can use this as a way to solve your problems is simply about getting started. Because if you can do these things and you can set these goals for you, you can start moving. Because if you stay in stasis, that's utterly destructive for you as a human and for the rest of your life. Because everyone thinks that doing nothing and staying in the same position means that nothing happens. But essentially, you not doing anything means that you're regressing. It means that you're falling backwards. Because in stasis, there's no moving forward. There's only regression, because there's aging and there's the chaos catching up to you, which will eventually reach you if you don't continue to move forward. The idea is to essentially face your goals head on as soon as you can, because it's the reason that you want to go fight the dragon and find the dragon in its lair before it comes to find you and eat you. Because the chances are that when you do go and find the dragon in its lair, you might actually find it as a baby dragon instead of a fully fledged massive dragon that could eat you and burn you alive. And it's much easier to deal with when it's tiny than when it's all full grown into adult size. And it's very interesting how you can deal with problems this way, because when you leave problems to fester and you leave them to grow, they become into bigger fledged demons when you leave them under the carpet that will actually come to haunt you in the future. Compared to the fact when you just deal them at the moment, because the problems are much smaller and much more trivial and much easier to deal with. So that's something to really think about, something really to wrap your head around, the ways that motivation works and the ways that you can solve your problems. So hopefully that's been helpful to you, and if it has, you can click down on the subscribe and the post notifications, whatever, so I can see my subscriber count go up. Thank you for watching, man. Hopefully that's been helpful.